Okay, so hi, I'm very excited to be here. I'm Shmuela, I'm the witch, and I'm going to show you some witchcraft with Firebase. Oh, I don't know, I don't have the time here. I'm gonna need a set of my, okay, fine, cool. So we're gonna do some witchcrafting with Firebase, meaning that I have about half an hour, right, to show you spells and magic with Angular and Firebase, right? All right. So let me get rid of this really, really weird wig and give you some witchcraft right away. Yeah. Woo! Yeah. So that wasn't really Angular and Firebase. That's just keynote. But we're going on. All right. A little bit about myself. So I'm a front-end developer. I'm a consultant and trainer, and I focus mainly on Angular. And I really, really love it. I love it so much that in my free time I do a lot of Angular. I'm the founder of ngGirls, and we do workshops for free workshops for women. And on this Thursday we're going to have one in Freiburg in Germany, and then we're going to have an Angular Connect, and we have all over the world, even in as far as Colombia, Medellin. So if you want to help and join us, and we need mentors, boys and girls, so come talk to me. Another thing that I'm doing in my free time is I organize the Angular Nights meetup, which is also about learning Angular after work at night. All right. So, witchcraft. So at night, we as witches go and and make spells for Angular. So instead of showing slides and showing you the witch book and everything, we're just going to do some live coding, all right? All right. So I've prepared here. That was oh no, wait a minute. Recording stopped. Wait a minute. For some reason. Okay, that's gonna be, I hope it works. Okay. So, what did I want to say? That we're going to connect this very nice application to Firebase. Of course, I'm going to open the DevTools, because whenever we develop an application, we're working with the DevTools open, right? What's that? Slow network is detected. Oh no, I hope it works. Okay, so we probably don't see a lot. Okay, and this application is going to be deployed today, now, in half an hour. So you're going to share your tips for me for Vienna. I'm going to be here until tomorrow afternoon. So the more tips you're going to put here, the crazier it's going to be for me tomorrow. All right? Yeah. Okay. So let's see what we have here. We can sign in with Google. So right now, if we're clicking it, nothing happens, only console log. And you can share your recommendations, like nothing happens, just again, console log. And you can also edit your own recommendations, your own tips, only your own tips, but again, nothing happens at the moment. It isn't saved. So I opened a Firebase project for that. And the first thing that we need to do is to add Firebase to our web app. Okay, so we have here this configuration, which gives us everything that we need to connect our application to Firebase. All right. I already copied it. I will paste it in a moment. I hope it will work. Also, one thing that you need to do actually before you get this configuration is go into sign-in method and choose what sign-in method you want to have. So I enabled Google, and we're going to use that. You can use You can use email and password, even phone authentication, Facebook, Twitter, GitHub, and anonymous. Anonymous means that a user can start using your application without being signed in, and the data will still be saved. And when this user decides to sign up somehow, then their data will be copied to the new user that is created. Now, another smart thing that you have with Firebase is that if a user signs in with several different methods like Google, Facebook, email, and password, but it's always with the same email, then Firebase recognizes that it's the same user and will give him the same data. But you can also turn off this feature if you want. So you can have multiple accounts for different sign-in methods. Yeah?
Can I use custom OpenID Connect providers?
Yeah, so you can also use custom providers using Google Cloud Functions, connecting them through there. You can add this. A little bit more complicated, but just a little bit. Very easy overall. OK, Google is like the easiest way because I don't have to now go to Google and add my application there. It's already, Firebase is part of Google. Who's using Firebase already? Just so I know. OK, cool. Who's using Angular? Wow. OK, so I'm in the right place, just checking. OK, so I'm going to environment. And here I'm just pasting. This is the environment file. And we have two different files, one for production and this is for development, one for production. And you can add more environments. So I'll also add this to the production one. So when we build the application and deploy it, it will take the configuration from here. But good practice, have several different Firebase projects for each environment, OK? Because if you're developing, you don't want to mess with the production data, right? So you can actually put here something else. OK. And first thing that we need to know, I also wanted to show you before I'm starting to connect everything, I wanted to show you what happens when a user is signed in. So if they're not signed in, then you have this button sign in with Google. And if they are, then let's put here a user. And you will get something like that. All right? OK, cool. So how do we do that? So first of all, we're using here not only Firebase, but also Angular Fire, which is a library that helps us connect Angular with Firebase or the other way around. And there is a Firebase SDK that you can use for all your applications. But the cool thing in Angular Fire is that it uses observables, which we already have and like in Angular with RxJS. So it leverages their strength. So we're going to use that also. OK, so to start working with that, we need to first import the Angular Fire module into our application module. So Angular, can you see this? Is it big enough? OK. Angular Fire module. And we init it with our configuration. So environment, just what the default environment, Firebase config. That's it. We have now connected Firebase to Angular Fire and to our application. Now, another thing that we're going to need now, we're going to start with the authentication. So let's add Angular Fire authentication module, auth module. And now we can start working with that. So in the user component, we're expecting a user, but actually we can also have with Firebase a continuous status of the user. Okay, a real-time status, so if you're signed in or signed out. So let's see how we do this in the user service, first of all. Now, a lot of tutorials and examples on the web will show you how to do this directly in the component, which is great for just demo, for showing you how to work with it, but it's not good practice. So do this in the service, okay? Just like I do now. So, so you see that right now signing in and signing out just console logs. So we inject the, what do we need to do before we inject the service into some other service? To provide it, yeah. Thank you. Okay, so we provide here Angular Fire Auth. All right, awesome. So private AF Auth. Only half an hour to do lots of witchcraft. And what do you think? I'm gonna make it? Yeah, hope so. Okay, so Angular Fire Auth gives us signing methods and sign out methods. So let's implement them. So this AF Auth. It's okay. We're signing in with a provider, so we're going to do. Where is my auth thing? Okay, I have my witch book here. Auth. Sign in with pop-up, and then we have to give it a provider. So we do new Firebase. So that's actually going straight to Firebase. Yes, I want to import Firebase. Auth, not auth provider, Google auth. Come on, Google auth provider. Yeah, so I'm creating a new instance of that. And of course, you have the instances for all the other providers. And that's it. Now, this function returns a promise, and you can deal with it. Of course, you can do then and catch and whatever you want. But I'm not going to deal with it right now. And to sign out, if auth, look how great WebStorm is, giving me the this auth. And guess what? Sign out. That's it. As easy as it. Again, promise. Okay, so you can do return and so on. And now, let's see. We still haven't connected the user. We still don't get the user data in the in our component. Okay, so Angular Fire has really something really great called auth state, which is an observable, and it, like I said before, it gives us the status of the user all the time. Okay, so we're going to actually pass it to our user observable, and the $sign here is a convention for observables, so that we know that we have to subscribe to it and so on, right? So now we have the user observable, which is public, and we can use it in our component. So let's go back to our user component. Now I can't just pass it as a user. Now it's going to be a user observable. So let's first of all take this, grab this again here. Okay, so we have the user, and we're already injecting the user service. And we'll just do this user. We'll get it from the user service. Just getting it, user. Okay, we could have done it also like more straightforward, but it's like better to separate these things. Okay, so observables. What do we need to get the data from observables? Yeah, we need to subscribe to it, right? But what does Angular give us? Okay, you're awesome. You're really awesome. Okay, so we're just going to subscribe to it here in the ngIf. So user observable async. And a really cool trick that you have, so that you don't need to do this for every part in the component that needs data from the user observable, or the user data actually, is if you're using ngIf, then you can take the value and put it as something else. So as user, okay? So now user will hold the data from the observable, and we can use it wherever we want in our application, for example, in our user avatar, in user display name, and so on. Okay? Do you want to see it in action? Yay. All right. So, recompiling. And no? Yeah! All right, I'm signed in with Google. Yeah. So we have my name here. We have my avatar. That's one of my many accounts avatar. This is I don't know if you can see it very well. This is my cat. You saw my dog before. This is my cat. And what's great about Firebase and the user status is that if now I just like duplicate this this tab and maybe even just take it away as another, wait a minute, let's rearrange them. Okay, so they're side by side. There's one without the DevTools, one with the DevTools. Okay, so different tabs. So if I'm signing out in one, then I'm signed out also in the other one. If I'm signing in, and this is how signing with Google works, it opens a new tab, and then you have to select one of your many accounts in Google, and then you're signed in. Okay, and this is another account that I have with the same name. Well, what can I do? And you're also signed in the different tab. Hey, look at that. I have different hats here. Yeah. All right. So let's go on with that. We have the user. We can sign in. We can sign out. Now we need data, right? That's it. OK, so let's close this because I need my WebStorm. Close. Yep. All right. So we have in the Vienna tips component, okay, so we have the input where you insert your recommendations and it will submit the tip. And you have the list where you view the recommendations. Now I want everybody to be able to see all the recommendations, all the tips, but only but you can edit only those that you have written by yourself. So we'll do that with a little bit of server functions, say Firebase cloud functions in Firebase, which is a really cool feature that really gives us the missing part of the serverless platform. And it was announced on March, so it's pretty new. OK, so right now I just have like the tips here, and submit tip does console log, and edit also. OK, so again, we'll go to the service and connect it to the database. And again, we'll have an observable of all the list of tips, and we'll use the updating methods and put methods of Firebase. So let's go to the service. Here we are. OK, so again, to do that, to inject the service, we first need to provide it here. So it's a different service, Angular Fire database. OK. We actually also need to have the module here, Angular Fire database module. Why do we need to put this, like, why can't Firebase just come, or Angular Fire come with all these things by default? What do you say?
The bundles get too big.
Yeah, the bundles get to bid. That's right. That's for tree shaking. So if you want to use only authentication, you don't have to import all the code of the module of the database, right? So you only import whatever you need. Okay. So now we can inject it here. FDB Angular Fire database. Okay. Okay. And what are we going to do? We want to get the tip list, right? We actually don't have it yet in the database at all. If you want to see, the database has like nothing. Okay, let's do even get started. We should do get started before. Yeah, good thing that I checked that. Nothing here. Yeah, just the you know, basic. Oh, unable to what? No. Yeah, I knew there should be something. Okay, that's what should be here. Null. Vienna meetup, null. Okay. Okay, so it's called Vienna meetup. Good thing to know. This tip list will be AFDB list, right? Yeah, I'm getting a reference to the list, and it's called, where am I now? Vienna, oops, no, Vienna meetup, right? It was Vienna meetup? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. And let's also add like a child to it, so like tips, okay? All right, red because we need to add it here. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, Angular 5, yeah, sure, why not? What? Cannot find, whatever. Later. Okay. Now, this is not enough to get the data. Again, this is, well, this is almost an observable. What's going to be an observable is when we do this. So we take tip list, or tips list, I don't know how the grammar works. And we have two options here. We can take like the value of each one of the items on the list, like only the bare value, or we can take a snapshot which also holds more information, for example, the key of each item. And we're going to need this key to be able to update the right item later on, okay? So I'm going to do, instead of, we have here value changes, but I'm going to use instead of that snapshot changes. Oops, snapshot changes. Okay, so this is something new in the new version of Angular Fire. So if you're already using it, then pay attention. That's in Angular Fire. The library is called Angular Fire 2, and it's version 5 now. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so tips. Okay. So we can already connect it, even though we don't have any data there. So let's see our tips component. Okay, so again, we don't need all these tips now. We just need an observable of tips, and we need to get it. Private, what was it? Vienna tips service? Tips service. Vienna tips. Vienna tips service. All right, here we have it. On ng on init, this tips observable is going to get it from there. Okay. No, oops, tips. And we're going to use it, of course, here in the list. Okay, so again, not just tips observable, async. All right? So I'm already doing the for loop on tip, so I don't have to change anything inside. So tip has title. Where do we see this title? Here. Okay, I'm using another nice thing that we have in ngIf. So you all know that if the how do you call it? What? Directive? No, like what you pass to the directive, the condition. If the condition is true, then it will render this element or component. And what you can do is, if the condition is false, then you can pass it a name of a template that you've written, okay? And that's here in. Come on now. Okay, that's here in ngTemplate. You're using ngTemplate, and that template will not be rendered, but you give it this name, so it's the same name. But here you put a hashtag, of course. And so if the condition is false, then what's rendered is what's inside the template. Okay? Isn't that cool? Okay. So another thing that we're using here is also the question mark. That's okay. What you see here actually is when you click on the list item, then it becomes an input. But if you haven't clicked on it, if it's not in editing mode, then it's just the title, just the tip.title. Okay. So we also have another ngIf here. And we're not sure that we even have editing or if it's null, so I don't want it to check for key inside because it will give me an error if we don't have editing, so we put the question mark. So this syntax is only if you have editing, then grab the key. And if you don't have it, then just ignore. It works not only in ngIf, any binding, any interpolation that you have here in Angular. Okay, so just a little bit about Angular. Let's see if it works. Okay, recompiling. Oh, I should have let it compile before that. We're not supposed to see anything because we don't have anything in the list, right? And I haven't connected this input to the list yet. Okay, so let's do it really, really quickly. We already have the submit tip and the update tip and the edit here. So let's do this Vienna tip service, like save or submit tip. Let's like do this. Okay, and we get the event target value. Okay. We don't need this. Okay, submit tip. Let's go to the service. Is that the right service? Yeah. Okay, submit tip title. So the value will be the tip's title. And what we do now is just, we have already the reference to the tip list. And we do like just push. Oh, I forgot to do something though. Wait a minute, just let's push, right? Yeah, title, just giving the title, right? Now, what I forgot to do is the snapshot changes gives us a lot of data, and we want to map it to get the right data that we want, okay? So we get a tips list, and we want to do return tips map. For each tip on the list, we return an object of what we have in the tip snapshot, yeah, value. So that's the inner value that we have, which is right now just the title. And we want to add the key, okay? So key will be the tip snapshot key. Do we have it? Yeah, all right. So we're supposed to get it now. We're returning that, and we can submit tips. Okay, let's see if this works. What does it, what? Hey? Yeah, okay. Oh, how much time do I have? I don't have time. Okay, so what's our first recommendations? Angular meetup in Vienna. Oh no. Oh no. Cannot read. Property val of undefined. Okay. Oh no. Okay. I'm mapping tips.
You could just filter where there is a snapshot on the tip.
What's that?
You could filter where only there is a tip snapshot.
Only if there's a tip snapshot. Oh, sorry. It's not snapshot. It's payload. That's my. Sorry. That's the thing. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. So I already submitted it. So we have Angular meetup. All right. What else do we have here? Mozart. Okay, Mozart. So that's actually in in here. Okay. So we have the key and the title. Now let's add. Oh my God! Can I take a few more minutes out of the half hour?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
How many?
5, 10.
5 is okay.
5 is okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. So we want to submit a tip, update a tip. Okay. Update. So this Vienna tip service update tip. And again, we're sending it the value, the new value, and the key, okay? Because we have it in the tip. Okay. Update tip. So title and key. Okay. Now again, we already have a reference to the tip list, but now we want the object. Is that right? Am I doing this right? No. I'm gonna do it like the whole way. Okay. We're going to reference the object right from the start. FDB object. That's right. Okay. Why is it red? Object. Okay. Vienna. Let's take this from here. Okay. And then we pass it the key. All right, so we have a reference to the item with this key. And then what we do is update, is this update, right? We update it with the new value. Okay, just making sure that it's right. Yeah. Title. Okay, that's it. That's how easy it is. Let's see if it works. Okay, so I want to update the Angular meetup. Okay, so it's not Angular, it's Angular Vienna meetup, right? All right, so it's updated. Let's see. Angular Vienna meetup. That's really cool. All right, so what else do I have to do? So update, edit. Okay, that's okay. Edit is just changing it to edit mode. Okay, so we've covered that. All right. So now what do I have to do? Yes.
The update is replace operation.
The update just updates whatever I give it to update.
But is it a replace operation of the JSON object, or is it just a patching?
Yeah, so it's a patching. If it had more than just a title, then it would just go to the title and update it. But if I want to replace the whole object, then I'm going to use a set, I think. Okay? But right now we don't have anything else but a title, but we're going to actually add some stuff, okay? So what we're going to add we're going to connect it to Firebase. So Firebase init. So I'm going to actually put this whole project. I'm going to add here Firebase configuration. So database, hosting, and even rules. So they just asked me for a bunch of questions. where are we going to have the rules. Oh, installing dependencies with npm. Okay, I hope this works. Okay, and in the meantime, let's see if I have something to work with. Okay, database rules. Okay, so I want everybody to be able to read. So I'm just going to do here true. And to write, actually I want, I want my directory to be dist. And I don't know, yes, I never know, but it's okay. Just override it. Okay, so what I want to do with the rules, I want to have like I said, to restrict only if it's your tip that you can write it, edit it. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, where is my, here it is. Okay. So we're going to have something like that. Okay. Vienna tips, how did I call it? Tips. Vienna meetup tips. Okay, Vienna meetup. I can open a whole object for that. Tips. Let's open another object, and we'll say, now we have a specific tip, okay, but we don't know how it's called. So $tip will get a read permission true for everyone, and write, and that's going to be a bit complicated. Okay, only if you're authenticated, auth not equals null, and auth provider, that I don't care about, the auth provider, and either data exists, data doesn't exist because it's new one, or if it exists, then it's user ID, UID, its value of the UID, val, equals to auth UID. I hope that's all right, okay? I really hope that's all right. So what I'm doing here is checking whether the tips UID equals to the one who's trying to now edit it. Okay, but we don't have the user ID, right? So how do we do that? We have now the functions here for Firebase. So we're going to add a function that takes the, whenever you create a user ID, then, sorry, a tip, then it will add your user ID here, all right? So now I need the other page. Okay, function, no, export. Let's start with export. Exports save tip. You just give a name for your function, and it will be triggered. Functions database ref. We're referencing whatever we want. Okay. So Vienna meetup it was, right? Slash tips slash ID. Okay, so this is a parameter that we can use, but we don't really need to use this. And then we say on write. On, why does it, yeah, okay. When you write to it, and you get an event, then what do you do with this event? If the event auth, if it's something that was initiated by the admin, then return. Oh, I always forget the brackets in if. Return. Otherwise, return a function that we're going to write, add UID with the event. Okay, so function add UID, which gets an event, will be we're taking the data, okay, the original value, data val, Okay, and then we're going to add to it the UID, auth, variable, what? Variable. It has the UID there, and then we're going to update. Okay, this also returns a promise. You actually can do even console logs here, and see it in the Firebase console. And then you update just like we updated. Just like we updated before, so it doesn't set the whole value. Well, we do set the whole value here, but never mind. Okay, exports, is that okay? It's supposed to be okay, I hope. Okay. All right. Hopefully it's gonna work, really hopefully. So what we're going to do now is, well, first of all, I can check if it still works. No, I didn't deploy it. So let's just build and deploy the whole thing and hope that it works, all right? ng.
Looks like you have a tick at the end of the file.
What do I have?
At the end of the file?
A what?
No, forget it.
Okay, let's see if it builds first of all. Okay, let's see if it builds. Now this is gonna take a little bit of time, so. Sorry for taking a bit more of your time now. Yeah, okay. Okay. Now Firebase deploy, hopefully the rules that I wrote are okay. All live coding without copy paste or using something else. The functions that I wrote are okay. Really, really hope that everything is gonna be okay. And then we'll get a URL that you can actually go into and add tips. And if it's not going to work, the URL will be the same, and we'll go to the break. And during the break, I'm going to fix it, but I'm sure it will be okay. I'm really sure. Okay, it's creating a function now, and yeah. So you can do the whole thing from here. You can also write your own functions in another project. Now, this functions project can be a whole project that you can even write with TypeScript or whatever you want, and just have everything compiled to index.js, and then deployed to Firebase. All right, so this is the URL. Okay, it's vienna-meetup.firebaseapp.com. Sign in with it already has my okay, vienna-meetup.firebaseapp.com. You have to sign in with Google. Sorry, I'm I'm signing in. Okay. Okay. So share your tip for Vienna. Okay. So if I'm trying to now edit the I am first, so it will not edit it, and it will actually have an error here showing that I don't have permissions. And like I said before, please, we're using promises, so please deal with it, do a catch error stuff, and okay, eat a mustard ball. That's a really good one, yeah, okay. So, what kind of a hat did you get when you signed in? All right, so hopefully I showed you how much magic there is in Angular with Firebase and with Angular Fire, and that it's really, really easy to connect your application to Firebase, and it's really easy to manage your server or serverless server and database and so on. Another small tip that I have about Firebase, they now have in beta, they have a new version of their database, which will be built with documents and collections and better querying. So there are use cases, most of the use cases you'd like to try this out, but the old database, the current one that I was using, is really, really great for when you want to really have real time with several users, like Google Docs or something like that, that you can see all the users collaborate together. So I'm gonna follow all your suggestions. Where is my last slide? And oh, I'm clicking on the wrong thing. Okay. Ha! Okay, my email, my Twitter, you can write to me, ask questions, invite me to meetups, and so on. So again, sorry for the time. Thank you very much for having me. I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you.